I want to show you how to create a spreadsheet based off of your YouTube channel. I'm talking about a complete list of all your videos, all your content, with the date in each item, with the view count, with the length and number of seconds. That way you can have a whole spreadsheet and you can sort and make sense of all of your content. You can see what has the most views and you can take the appropriate action. So I have a new client. He's really cool. I'm making this video actually specifically for him to show how, using some free tools and almost zero coding, we were able to build this whole spreadsheet and then have a folder with all of his video content. And then we're even in the process, as I'm speaking, of converting some of these video files into audio for things like podcast notes. But I want to show you how to basically scrape or build a spreadsheet of your YouTube channel, or actually anyone's YouTube channel. So let me jump into this. We use a tool. It kind of hinges on a tool called YTDLP, and it's like a YouTube downloader sort of program. For a lot of years I used this one called YouTube DL, but it seemed to be kind of getting throttled or slowed down by YouTube. So there's a newer one, I guess, called YTDLP. This is a free tool, and you can get this at, if you search YTDLP and go to video help here to download it. And this is a program for Windows, but I guess they have a Mac and Linux version as well. I'm a Windows guy, and I use batch files and YouTube DLP, and then a little bit of spreadsheeting to kind of, in a way, mail merge a batch file, if you know what that means, or maybe you'll catch on to some of these things that we're showing you here. So here's the situation: is we have this guy, and he's Mike Killen, and he's sell your service, and there he is right there in the thumbnail. But we go and we land on his YouTube channel, right? And we go through and we go through and we scroll down, we open all this up, and we say, oh man, he has 614 videos. How the heck can we right click and copy all these links and right click and copy all these titles? It would take us months, years to do all this. Why not let the machine do it? And so any problem that we have, we can break it down into smaller, manageable pieces, and then kind of solve some smaller problems. So I'll find a Google document here. And what we can do is we need to get a list of all of the YouTube videos on the channel, and we'll put that into a spreadsheet. And then we can then cycle through those list of links and then get the title, the date, the number of views, and then the length of time for all those videos. And then that gives us this list. And then maybe as a little bit of an extra or a bonus, we could in fact download every video in the channel. And the scary but also amazing thing about all this is that this is possible with anyone's YouTube channel, but it would probably be most useful for yourself for your own YouTube content. Now I'm going to be showing some code snippets, and we'll make sure to put them all in robertplank.com/scrape-YouTube. But even if it doesn't make a lot of sense, maybe just let this wash over you and let me show you some of these things at work, because we are basically going to do this in these 3 steps. So we have busted out all of these. We've kind of clicked more and more and next, and kind of infinite scrolled our way to the bottom of this YouTube channel. And the first thing we need to do is do a little bit of Google coding. You hit the F12 key, and this brings us to some scary screen that's called the developer console. And in techie speak, it means that you can type JavaScript commands right here, right now in your browser. Like, I think if I said like alert hello, I could pop up a pop-up box, right? This is the way for geeks to run code right there on whatever web page is online. So we won't do that, but I will grab a snippet of code that I was looking for. How do I get a list of all the links on a page? And instead of going into the trouble of installing yet another Chrome plugin, I have these 4 lines of code. Whoops, 4 lines of code that we can just paste into the Chrome developer console. So we copy these couple of lines of code. We go here to these Chrome tab. We opened up the developer console. We went down to this console area. We right click and we just paste in these few lines. And here's what it gives us. It gives us this big long list. I'm not sure if I can select all. Oh, I can. So I Control A, and it's just given us this long list of every single link that is on the current web page. And we can right click and copy all of this, and then open up a text editor such as Notepad. I prefer Edit Plus for some reason. And I can kind of clean this up a little bit, and then scroll up, and at some point, so like at the top, these are just like things like this is like every link on the page. So some of these are links to other channels. So we have to scroll down, and get to where we think the content for this channel begins. So I'll try out this video, and this first link is this one that says how to drastically increase the LTV of your client's customers. So I think, just being really careful, this is like the thinking portion of this. And if I say, so how to drastically increase the LTV, that's this link right here. And let me see, so this is K8F, and it appears a couple of times. Okay, so it seems like the first most video we want is right there, so we'll highlight everything before it. And then we scroll down, and I'm not sure why. So we have these other links, and we go all the way to the bottom. Okay, so we sort of have a list of these links, but we need to get rid of whatever this other weird stuff is beforehand. So this is where, we launch into a little bit of searching and replacing, right? So everywhere here we have letter 2 and HTTPS. We want to just replace it with just HTTPS to get rid of that 2 at the right there. So we do some search and replace, and we scroll down, and then we have this 2VM 259.3. So who knows what kind of weird stuff we need to clean up out of that. So we'll just search and replace that as well. And what we have from just that step is a list of 616 YouTube links, YouTube videos, all of Mike's videos on his channel. So that's a good first step, right? We already took care of that first step in the process, where we use Chrome F12, which is called Developer Tools, and we went to the console, and then we pasted in the JavaScript snippet, which again we'll put at robertplank.com/Scape YouTube, and that gave us, and we did a select all, copy, paste, and then some search and replace to clean up the list, and that gives us a list of URLs. Okay, so next, the next logical step would be to put this into a spreadsheet. So we'll say new spreadsheet. And how did I set up this other one? I said video URL. So we say video URL, and then we take this big list of YouTube links. We do a select all. We right click and copy this list of URLs, and then we put them and paste into this spreadsheet. And a trick with Google Sheets or Excel is to have like your header row to make it easier just for you to think. So I like to highlight this top row and say view, freeze, one row, maybe even bold it, That way we can differentiate the header and from the rest of the data. Okay, so now we have a list of all these video URLs. And so the next step we need to do is figure out the some information about it, right? And we want to fill in the video title, the video date, the number of views, and then the length of time for this video. And as we said, the tool we're using for this is called YT-DLP. And if we kind of look at the documentation, we need to find like where they explain the various commands. So here's how this works: is you run this in the command line, and you run this program plus the URL of the YouTube video that you want. If you just ran this command, just the program name, right, the executable file name plus a URL, it would just download that. But there are these extra things you can do, these things called switches, where you said like dash dash, oh, I just want to extract the audio. Or some of these other commands here is where we can do things like, instead of downloading the whole video, we can download like just the title of it. So let me get to this point. So I'm going to hit Control or Windows key R and then CMD to bring up the scary good old command line. But it'll be fun, I promise. And then what I like to do is just go into like a downloads folder, and I've already went to YT-DLP, and I went to video help, and I downloaded and installed just this simple command line program that, as we said, if you just ran the file name plus the YouTube link, it would download it as an audio file. But we don't want that. We instead want to use one of these crazy, funny commands. And what we landed on was this one where we can download a YouTube title from a URL. So let me, I guess, to make it simple, let's start with just one, right? Start with just one YouTube video and ask ourselves, can we get the title? And then later on, worry about dumping that title name into a file. Because that part, the dumping's the easy part. The hard part is getting the exact text that we're looking for. And so what we can do here is, so if we went YT-DLP and we went to this first YouTube link, if I right click and copy it, if we ran just YT-DLP and then loaded this YouTube link, we can see here that it is downloading this 27 megabyte video file. And so we don't want to download the file, and we can say YT-DLP --help, and see it gives us, there's so many little commands we can run into it. And so the one that we're looking for, that it took me a little bit of Googling to figure it out, but we can say dash or -O, and then we can also do a %, let's see, title, and I'll give you the code for this. So let's say we just did whatever the heck all this is, right? All of this, all these commands, and then we paste in that YouTube link. So what does that give us? So we don't want to download, and I think it's like skip download. It's still downloading, okay. And we kind of do some trial and error. Here we go. So that was the exact, just the right command, right? We had to say YT-DLP, which is the program name, and then that we will output just the title of this URL, and don't download the video, just get the file name. And I can hit the up arrow and kind of get that old command back, and then just add to it, build to it. And what I was doing here is then so then I said percent, and then I'll put upload date, and then an S. And, I just kind of looked at the instructions and figured out how to add on all these parts that I want. So here we have the date, we have the title, and if I go back and if I add things from what I found in the instructions, like the view counts, and then if I add the duration, then in one command, in one go, look at all these things we get. We input the title of this YouTube video. We get the date, we get the title, we get the view count, and we get the length of time in seconds. So imagine if we had what's called a batch file or a list of commands, and we just went down every single video URL right here. And so how would we do that? How would we put that together? Well, we do a little bit of text magic. So we highlight all these things in the URL, and I use this tool called Edit Plus, and there's similar ones like Ultra Edit, but it's kind of like a text editor for geeks, for coders. And we have this list of YouTube videos, and what we really want to do is we want to have kind of wrap this and say YouTube DOP, and we want to get the upload date and the title and the view counts, and from every single YouTube URL on this list, right? Oh yeah, and one other thing is we want to store every output into a text file. So a couple of things on the mental to-do list, and the trick here is to use a little something scary called regular expressions, which are like search and replace on steroids. And so we want to take all this information, and I've kind of separated each thing by a tab character, and also something I kind of found out from trial and error is that if you have a percent sign and you want it to appear in a batch file, you need to have 2% signs for some reason, just one of those quirky things. But basically, we want to have a big long file, right? And one of the lines downloads this YouTube video, and one of the lines downloads that YouTube video, and so on. How do we do it? Regular expressions is the answer. And we're basically saying, we want to take all this and put it at the beginning of this line, right? So what we were looking to do is say, boom, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, and just do that all down the line. How do we do that for 614 videos? We do a search and replace, and instead of doing a regular search and replace like we did a few minutes ago, we click on this regular expression checkbox, and you could go insane for days thinking about regular expressions. But basically, if we do a Shift 6, this is called a hat or a carriage, and this means place this at the beginning of the line, of every line on this in this file, and we will right-click all this gobbledygook from this YouTube download program and all the silly, funny things that we were outputting. We click on Replace All, and check that out. I did this for all of the above, and we want to put one final line break at the end. That way, because it's like typing in the line and then hitting Enter and running the command, right? And so we will save this, and then we will put this in our downloads file where we are, and we will call this download1.bat. And I kind of like to just like name, I like to put a number at the end. That way I can be like, this is attempt number 1, this is attempt number 2. That way I don't lose something that was half done that I was working on. So here we're in this downloads folder, and we just say download1.bat. And what this will do is it will run every single one of these commands. It'll use this YouTube downloader with all of these extra arguments and get all the information from this one YouTube link. So if we run download1.bat, here's what will happen. See, it's running this first command, and you see that it grabbed for us the date and the title and all that. But what's the problem? Well, it's only outputting, and I'll hit Control-C, and then yes, I want to terminate. It will output all this stuff to the screen, but it's not actually like placing it anywhere that is useful. And so here's here's what we need to be doing, is we run this whole command, and then we do a space, and we do a greater than space list.txt. So this this puts the output of this command into this list.txt, or maybe we'll make it list1.txt, and it will, because there's two greater thans, this will append. So this means that every time you run each of these commands, it will add each output into this text file, right? So this finding new leads, put it in a text file. Raising your prices, put it in a text file. And we'll put this all at the end of each line, and we go back to our regular expressions, and we do a $sign or a shift 4 to place it at the end. And then we make sure to be careful and have a space. So we have whatever was at the end of the line, a space, and then dump it into list1.txt. Replace all. There we go. And then we'll save that. And then let's run download1.batch file again. So now it's running. And then we can look in our downloads folder that we're in, and in list 1, you can see that now it's placing each of the dates and the titles and everything into a new line. And if we close that and keep on opening it, you can see that this is building this list before our very eyes. If we close it, open it again, close it, open it again. So we're going to let this run for a few minutes, and we'll come back to this once it has had a chance to cycle through all of the videos. And then what we'll be doing is just highlighting this this completed text file and then pasting it into our spreadsheet, being careful and making sure that everything lines up. So we'll let this kind of downloading of each of the file names run for a short time, and we'll pick back up when the downloading has finished. Okay, we're back a short time later, and we haven't downloaded all 600. We're about at 252, but I'm just going to show you what I have so far. We've been going. We'll do a Control-C. Lets us terminate batch job, stop with what we have so far. And what we've downloaded here are 267 lines containing the date, the title, the view count, and all that. And we'll just do a select all, and then a copy, and then go and find our spreadsheet again. And if it's really that important to you, I guess you could paste it and try to line it up, match it up, but we'll just paste it all in. And the key here, the secret, is that because we made the command, because we separated each of these with a tab key, a tab character, when we paste it into the spreadsheet, these things appear in the different cells here. So what we can just do is, and we can rearrange these columns as well, right? Because like this is the video ID, this is the date, this is the title, and then what was the order? Let me check. Then we said view count, and then we said duration. So we'll say this is views, and we'll say this is length in seconds. And then there you go, there you have it. And because now it's in a spreadsheet, we can rearrange the order of these columns or delete columns, or you can put me with the date first. And most importantly, because it is now in a spreadsheet, now we can sort it, right? Now we can say, I want to sort this by the date column. Now maybe I want to sort this by the views column. And now you can manipulate the data in all kinds of different ways. And let's say that you wanted to do some work based on this. You can kind of even make like a checkbox column, right? You can say something like posted to YouTube or posted to Facebook, right? And then maybe on this day you post this, on this day you post that, or maybe you say on November 1st I posted that, November 2nd I posted that. But now that it's in a spreadsheet, now you have a lot more options. And so that's how we did this. We first got a list of all YouTube videos on the channel, and by doing the Chrome developer console, pasted in some of that JavaScript, and then we played around with the YouTube DL, or now it's YTDLP commands. And like we said, I'll give you this code at robertplank.com/scrape-YouTube. And then we did a little bit of regular expressions to say, let's figure out this whole command that we want to create and run it on this YouTube link, and then output it, append it into this text file, and then copy it out of the text file into the spreadsheet. And one last step, one last thing that I wanted to do was to download each of these YouTube videos. How the heck do you download it? Well, believe it or not, the downloading is easier than grabbing all of the names, because we and you might even be able to guess, right? Because we said before that if you put in the command YT-DLP and then the name of any YouTube link, then that will just download that video. Now, here's what I don't really like about it, is that it saves it as the title of the YouTube video, and then in brackets the YouTube video ID, this NKRGW. So in my case, I wanted to kind of rearrange the file name and have it have this YouTube title or ID first, and then the name of the video. And I mean, you could choose to put like the date at the beginning, anything like that. And so let me give you a little bit of a code snippet here. And what we did is, if I paste this, copy this from my other document. So you see that we can still run the same command, YT-DLP, but then say output, and then we can choose to have ID, title. And so if I run it on this one YouTube video, let's see what it gives us. So it's downloading it. And in this case, see, it puts this long gobbledygook YouTube ID first, and then the title of it. And if I went up, I could even do the following. I could say %upload date, and see how that changes it. Now it's putting this 20220325, and when we download this, you see how the file name here is 20220325. So we can either download it the normal way, or with the crazy YouTube ID first, or the date first. And so now it's just a matter of running this command in the batch file format with all of these YouTube links. So I can just click this top one. Actually, I could just highlight the whole column, I guess, right? Right click and copy. And then we go over here to the this Edit Plus page, and we have this whole list of YouTube videos, right? Whole list of YouTube videos. And we want to run the command that is this one. So how do we put this at the beginning of every line? Well, we take the beginning part and we say search and replace, regular expression, the hat character, the shift 6, put all this stuff ahead of time. Boom. Now we have all these commands, and we hit the enter key, and then we can save this. And one thing I'm not sure if I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned it before, but it's important that you put quotes around your file name. That way it saves as the extension that you want, like a .bat, a .batch file, not a .txt file instead. And so we'll say here, let's say batch2.bat, and this is where we download the actual, whoops, we already have that. So let me try batch 3. All right, so we saved batch 3 to download every single one of these YouTube videos. So now we'll say batch 3 Oh, actually, 1 second, I messed up because, oh no, wait, yeah, we have the double percentage signs for the batch file. Never mind. So we run, where'd it go? Okay, we go batch3.bat, and then you let this do its thing. And so the first video that it's downloading is how to write an email marketing strategy fast and easy. We wait some more. Now it's downloading Guru Review Marketing Funnel Tools. And if you let this run, it will just load up your current folder with all of, and see it's just piling them on, all of these videos containing every video from the YouTube channel. And so that is how we grab every single YouTube video from a channel. It's a combination of first getting a list of all the videos using that JavaScript code. Then you kind of build up that batch file and use YTDLP to grab all of the titles, and we tab separate them. That way we can paste it into a spreadsheet, and then we run the YTDLP command again for every single YouTube link in there, using the special argument, the special switch to format the file name that the way that we want it. And there you have it. And I'll end the batch file there. And that is how we build that spreadsheet, build that library of the YouTube content from any YouTube channel. So to use this for good, not for evil. Ideally, you would want to use it for your client sites or for your own YouTube channel, and it's done without really much of any coding, and it's done using free tools, and it kind of revolves mostly around that YouTube downloader program. So anyway, robertplank.com/scrape-YouTube is where I'll put the links and the code. And maybe some of that went over your head. Maybe you have to watch it twice to see my thought process, how I broke down the problem, how I did a little bit of trial and error, and then got to the finish line of having this whole spreadsheet that we can then look at from a high-level overview, and having a whole folder of all of these video files that now you have downloaded from your own YouTube channel that you can do whatever you want with. Hope that helped. I know that was a geeky session, but I had a lot of fun, and I'm sure that you did too. So go ahead and make that index of your YouTube channel content and let me know how that works out for you.